Building a respectful workplace. Prevention of sexual harassment at the workplace. POSH. Introduction. Mark, who works in a reputed multinational company, was walking across the corridor with his colleague Ria. As they were passing by the cafeteria, they heard an objectionable comment directed at Ria. Mark could see Ria squirm upon hearing it and almost close to tears, but she quickly composed herself and continued walking so that no one would notice. Is this sexual harassment? What is the extent to which any person can exercise his freedom of speech or his action without it being termed as sexually harassing someone? If you are being subjected to it, then how should you react to it? As a manager or co-worker of the person being subjected to it, how should you reach out and help? The chances are very high that in your career, you will have come across cases of sexual harassment, never being able to comprehend it fully. In this session, you will learn how to identify sexual harassment, types of sexual harassment, what is not sexual harassment, what should your role be as a responsible employee, what is the organizational process to deal with it. How to identify sexual harassment. The Sexual Harassment of Women at the Workplace Act 2013 recognizes that every woman has a right to work with dignity, and sexual harassment is a violation of the fundamental rights of working women. Sexual harassment includes any one or more of the following unwelcome acts or behavior: physical, verbal, non-verbal, visual. Physical harassment. Examples include touching, holding, patting, stroking, massaging, brushing, getting too close, cornering, blocking someone's path. Verbal harassment. Examples include words like dear, baby, sweetheart, sweetie, darling, etc. Offensive comments on dressing or looks. Telling sexual jokes, discussing sexual topics, asking personal questions, leading work discussion to sexual topics, offering women colleagues to go out on date, meal, drinks, etc. even after denial. Non-verbal harassment. Examples include making obscene gestures, whistling, staring at the person's body, winking. Visual harassment. Examples include display of pornographic material, showing or sharing sexually explicit material like pictures, jokes, etc. Sexual harassment can be via any medium, physical or virtual, face-to-face, phone, SMS, email, social media like WhatsApp, Facebook, etc. Types of sexual harassment. The law clearly distinguishes between two types of sexual harassment that a person can commit. First, quid pro quo. Second, hostile work environment. Quid pro quo. Quid pro quo means this for that, which means you give me something, for example sexual favors, and I give you something back. For example, job-related benefits like promotion in return. It involves a person who has authority over the victim employee. It includes requests for sexual favors with either a promise of job benefits if the employee complies, or a threat of job-related retaliation if the employee does not comply. Jeffrey approaches his female subordinate Karen from behind. Loosening his tie, he leans towards her and says,
"Listen, I watched you come in this morning and could not help notice how attractive you look. And it caused me to think about you. Sales is where you'll do a great job."
"Are you offering me a promotion?" Karen asks.
You got to work for that. Let's go for lunch."
Karen immediately responds, "I'm busy. Besides, you gave me a deadline for this report, remember?"
"Forget the deadline. How about dinner?"
"Like I said, I'm busy," Karen insists. Jeffrey's demeanor shifts as he straightens his tie and says,
"I thought you took your job seriously. I thought you had your eye on the future. I could ask anyone in this company to lunch, anyone, and most of them would be willing to go. Maybe you should think about that.
What's that supposed to mean? She asks.
You figure it out.
Says Jeffrey and leaves for lunch. Is this an example of sexual harassment? Yes. This is definitely a form of sexual harassment called quid pro quo, extending job benefits in exchange for sexual favors. Even if Karen consents to this, it could still be termed as sexual harassment if she can prove that denying it would have led to some sort of punishment regarding her employment. Gabby, a female supervisor, informs John, her male subordinate, that she is aware that he has been having problems with the new project deadline. John admits that he has been struggling with some project-related issues. Well, we can't negotiate the deadline and I need everyone up to speed, Gabby says. So how about meeting me after work? I have tons of work right now. We'll have a drink at the pub and go over the problems you're having.
Are you suggesting that the entire project team also join in?
Not the team. Everyone else is doing fine. Just you.
Oh, I see. So drinks after work.
Bring your laptop and all the questions you have.
Sounds great. Sure, that would be helpful.
So John, there you go. I hope this discussion was helpful.
Thanks, Gabby. I'm so much more prepared to handle the project deliverables now.
Is this sexual harassment? No, this is not sexual harassment if this is all that happens. In fact, in some work circles, this is not at all inappropriate as long as the purpose of the meeting does not involve sexual favors. But what if the scenario unfolds like this? So John, there you go. I hope this discussion was helpful.
Thanks, Gabby. I'm so much more prepared to handle the project deliverables now.
You're welcome, John. But next time, you will have to do more than just drinks, or else, given your level of work, I can certainly come up with a solid reason to get you fired. You know what I mean, right? Maybe my place after dinner?
Gosh, how do I say no? I'm not comfortable with this.
What type of sexual harassment is this? Quid pro quo, threatening for sexual favors in return for no job-related retaliation. It can be a male employee harassing a female or vice versa. Hostile work environment. In a hostile work environment, an employee feels uncomfortable and intimidated due to unwelcome acts that are frequent or pervasive, which adversely affect the victim's work environment. Remember, perception counts even if the intention is not so. If the receiver of the harassment feels that an inappropriate behavior of a colleague has made a hostile work environment, the case can be reported at first instance itself. Let us see through some scenarios how a hostile environment can be created. Who can be a harasser or a victim? Where can it happen and when can it happen? Victor and Rosie are co-workers in the same department. After a group meeting went well, Victor says to Rosie,
Well, I think that the group meeting went pretty well.
I think so too. The team really liked the presentation we made, replied Rosie.
Well, honestly, I think you really ought to wear that skirt to every group meeting. And that perfume too, I love it.
Victor, stop it. I don't want you making comments like that about my appearance or my personal life. That's off limits, said Rosie in an exasperated tone.
Hey Rosie, how was I supposed to know? You never said anything about this before.
I tried to give you many hints, Victor. You just don't seem to understand. So now I'm telling you, I want you to stop. It makes me feel uncomfortable. I hope we are clear now.
Gee, can't you take a compliment?
I want you to stop talking to me this way. Your comments have made me feel uncomfortable. Don't do it again. Is this an example of sexual harassment? Yes, it is creating a hostile work environment. Here, Victor has made repeated unwanted acts of sexual or gender-based behavior. By referring to Rosie's outfit and perfume as the reason for the successful team meeting, he has just made a discriminatory statement. The fact that this is not the first time he had said things to Rosie with sexual undertones is also visible. This type of sexual harassment in the workplace creates an intimidating, hostile, or demeaning environment or situation that is unfavorable to a person's job performance. Harry sneaks up behind Daisy, his friend and colleague, in the pantry and grabs her waist and startles her, saying,
"Boo."
She breaks into a big smile and punches him on the arm.
So, how's married life with George treating you? You guys finally got married after 4 years of dating. Listen, you and I have been friends for a long time, right? And we have told each other all of our dirty little secrets.
Yeah, all of our dirty secrets. Daisy replies with a chuckle and a wink of the eye.
Then what I want to know is this: how is he? You know what I'm talking about. How is he in bed?
Hey, mind it, Harry, Daisy screeches. I can't believe you would ask me that.
Okay. I know you'll tell me later.
He winks and leaves the pantry. Let us consider the two possible outcomes. Daisy returns the joking. The dialogue indicates that both co-workers have shared a friendly and somewhat intimate relationship with each other to this point. She has been an equal partner in the joking. Do you think this is sexual harassment? No. Daisy indicates that she is uncomfortable discussing about this, but Harry continues to ask her about her married or sexual life. After all, they've been friends all this while who have shared dirty secrets with each other. Do you think this is sexual harassment? Yes. Why? No matter what the relationship one has shared in the past, if in the present Daisy is objecting to this behavior and Harry still continues on these lines, making Daisy uncomfortable and creating a negative impact on her work performance, then this can be termed as sexual harassment. If Harry understands that Daisy is clearly uncomfortable with such discussions and stops asking her personal questions, then probably this would not be sexual harassment. Emily works part-time as an office assistant. She takes over after the full-time assistant Jane leaves for the day. Emily and Jane both share the same computer. Jane usually leaves work when Emily arrives, but of late, Jane has been staying in the office even after her shift is over. The other day, Jane starts giving a neck massage to Emily and asks, "Do you have a boyfriend, Emily?" "No, Jane. I want to first concentrate on building my career. Boyfriends can come later. By the way, I don't think I need a neck massage. Thank you."
Oh, Emily, just relax. You're quite stressed. By the way, have you ever thought about dating women? You know, I think you're quite pretty.
Emily feels very uncomfortable and distracted with these personal questions. Jane sometimes also puts obscene pictures of women as the wallpaper on the computer they share. Emily has a hard time getting her work done when Jane hangs around in the office. She feels very distracted and unhappy. Since both co-workers are of the same gender, this cannot be considered as sexual harassment. Can it? False. Sexual harassment can occur even between people of the same sex. Remember that any unwanted act or behavior with sexual undertones that has a negative impact on work performance falls under the definition of hostile environment, no matter what the gender of the harasser or the victim is. It's the annual day function of a company. The party is on the rooftop of a popular hotel. Everyone is having a good time. After all, it was a good year for the company with record sales growth. Jack has had one too many drinks and seems to constantly hover around Susie. Clearly, she is not amused and tells him that this is making her uncomfortable. Is this an example of sexual harassment? Yes, if two people have a work connection, it does not matter what the place is or what the time is. Sexual harassment can occur anywhere, both on regular work premises and at work-related sites, including business trip locations, conventions, and holiday office parties. It can happen at any time of the day or night. Richard and Holly are staying in the same hotel during an official travel to the other city. Richard calls Holly at 11 p.m. asking for her help.
I have lost the key to my room. Can you inform at the reception to send another key?
Holly informs at the reception. She then calls Richard and tells him they are sending the duplicate key. Richard asks if he can sit in her room till he gets the key. Holly denies politely. Richard rings the bell and insists on Holly opening the door. Holly is clearly annoyed and frightened by Richard's act. Since Richard and Holly were not at their workplace when the incident happened, is this an example of sexual harassment? Yes, as workplace can be any site in connection to work, including a hotel during a business trip. And sexual harassment can occur at any time of the day. After the office party, Ira posted a group photo to the WhatsApp group, which they have been using for official and non-official communication. Tom comments back on her photo.
Wow.
Some more messages like,
Ira rocks. Ira, you look so hot.
Ira is not happy to see such comments posted in WhatsApp group by her male colleagues. She simply exits the group. The next week, she files for sexual harassment. Is she right? Yes, in this case, Ira felt uncomfortable by the comments and perceives her workplace as hostile. This also highlights the notional definition of workplace. A workplace is defined as any place visited by the colleague arising out of or during employment, including transportation provided by the employer for such journey. It not only includes physical places like work premises and work-related sites, including off-site work location, business trip locations, conventions, office parties, but also includes virtual places like SMS or personal or official email ID and social media platforms like WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, or any other such media where colleagues connect. A male manager sends his female team member an email containing filthy jokes. The email is sent on her personal email ID. The next day at work, he asks her if she received the email. She asks him how he had managed to get her personal email ID, and she expresses that she is offended that he emailed her this type of material. He asks her to relax, saying that it was done in jest and for her to go back home and read a couple of jokes and have a good laugh. Is this sexual harassment? Yes. It doesn't matter that the message was sent from his personal computer to her personal email ID. The fact that they have a workplace connection, that his actions are unwelcome, and that there may be a negative impact on her job performance may make this sexual harassment and is certainly of grave concern for the workplace. Thus, sending dirty jokes or pictures to co-workers or subordinates outside the workplace does not serve as protection against sexual harassment. Tia works with a reputed IT firm, and thanks to the company's flexi policy, she is able to work from home a few days a month. When Tia works from home, her Google Hangout social chat engine functions unlike the office. So, she sometimes exchanges messages with other colleagues working from home through Google Hangouts to stay connected. Just general hi, hello, what's up sort of messages. One day, when Tia is working on a presentation on her laptop, she receives a message from her colleague Rian.
Hey Tia, I miss seeing you, babe. In the office, you used to be around, so the days were easier to pass. By the way, you look really hot in your DP, but I want to see how you're looking today. Could you send a pic?
No way, and I do not appreciate this type of talk, Rian.
It's just a picture I'm asking for. I'm waiting.
Tia gets very upset and logs out of her Google Hangout. Tia and Rian are working from home. This surely cannot be considered as sexual harassment at workplace. True, or false? False. Tia feels uncomfortable and intimidated with Rian's comments and requests. It disturbs her throughout and she is not able to focus on her work. Rian's unwelcome pervasive act has created a hostile work environment for her. Therefore, this will come under sexual harassment at workplace irrespective of the place because Tia and Rian are connected through work. Anika is working from home these days. Her boss Summer wants to have a discussion regarding a project they have been working on together. Summer insists on doing a video call. Anika realizes that the points can easily be discussed over a phone call. But as Summer is her boss, she agrees. While they are on the video call, Summer says,
It's good to see you, Anika. You look sexy with your hair open. Why don't we do a video call daily to exchange notes and stay connected? Let us fix a time.
I don't see any need for this, Summer.
But I do. I like to look at you and talk.
I'm more comfortable over the phone, Summer.
Anika, do you want that promotion you've been requesting for or not? I just need to see you over a video call daily. We can do it after office hours. And Anika, keep your hair open for me, will you?
Anika is not happy with this behavior of Summer's. But she is working from home and this is happening over a video call after office hours. So, can she make a complaint against Summer under sexual harassment at the workplace? Yes, this is a case of quid pro quo, threatening for sexual favors in return for no job-related retaliation. Summer is threatening Anika that if she does not make herself available over a video call for him daily, he might stop her promotion. The medium or place or time does not matter as long as Summer and Anika have a work connection. The sales team of a multinational bank, whilst working from home, connects every Friday on a web call at the end of the day. The purpose of the call is for the team to stay connected. There is no work agenda as such. During one such web call, one of the guys, Arav, decides to play a prank. Instead of focusing the camera on him, he shares his desktop photo, which has an obscene meme on one of their co-workers, Janvi. She is also on the call and feels very humiliated. Arav did not intend to hurt anyone. This was just his idea of a joke. Moreover, they are not even in the office. They are not doing any work and this is just a web call. So, is this sexual harassment? Yes, sexual harassment is about perception, even if the intention was not so. If the receiver of the harassment feels that an inappropriate behavior of a colleague has caused a hostile work environment, then the case can be reported. It does not matter what place, medium or time it is, or that this was not a work call. Arav and Janvi have a work connection and that is the only thing that matters. An outsourced delivery driver asks the company receptionist to go on a date and she politely refuses. The same driver starts asking the receptionist out repeatedly, refusing to take no for an answer, and also comments on her appearance every time he makes a delivery. Is this sexual harassment? Yes. Any work-related person indulging in inappropriate behavior will fall under the purview of sexual harassment. Colleagues of same gender or different gender, superiors, peers, subordinates, third party like clients, contractors, visiting faculties, patients. This is termed as third party sexual harassment. A client touched an employee on the arm while having a business lunch. Is this sexual harassment? No, it can be a genuine mistake and not sexual in nature. The client repeatedly touched the employee inappropriately despite her request that he stop. Is this sexual harassment? Yes. Despite the employee telling the client to stop as she is not comfortable, if he is repeatedly indulging in inappropriate behavior, it is termed as sexual harassment. Sally walks up to the water cooler and notices Oliver and Jack looking at their mobiles and sharing dirty jokes. She can't help but overhear the dirty jokes. Both of them notice Sally filling up her water bottle, but that does not stop them from continuing with their dirty jokes. Sally turns red in her cheeks and is clearly not amused. In fact, she feels offended. She doesn't bother to completely fill up the bottle and rushes back to her seat. Is this sexual harassment? Yes. You will wonder why, when they have not done anything wrong directly with Sally. But remember, a victim can be anyone who is affected by the offensive conduct. This is termed as bystander sexual harassment. So, in the type of sexual harassment where a hostile work environment is created, the how has to be unwelcome, pervasive, or frequent act that adversely affects the victim's work environment. It can be physical, verbal, non-verbal, or visual. The who can be anybody work-related from within the company or some third party, any gender, any position. The victim can be the receiver or a bystander. The place and time could be anywhere, anytime. Quiz. Let's do a quick recap through some scenarios and questions. Alex is in the finance department. Emily works in marketing. They become good friends. They are often seen cracking jokes. After work, they often go out together. One day they meet in a garden where Alex holds Emily's hand and says,
I really like you.
Emily is angered and pulls back her hand. We are just friends.
I'm not asking for a serious commitment. We can just have some fun.
Emily leaves immediately. Next day onwards, Emily continues to be nice to Alex at the office. However, she maintains a distance and limits her conversations with Alex. Alex continues to reach her and send her texts.
It's not a big deal. Friends to enjoy together. Come on, why do you wear such dresses if you don't mean to attract men?
One day, Alex follows her after work and insists her to talk.
We are adults. It's only about having some good time together.
Emily is clearly hassled and says, Do not talk to me in this manner. Your comments and stare make me uncomfortable. Also, stop sending messages and stalking me. Is this an example of sexual harassment? Yes. No. Answer. Yes, this definitely is. Alex has made repeated unwanted acts of sexual or gender-based behavior. This type of sexual harassment in the workplace creates a hostile environment that is unfavorable to a colleague. Thomas asked Amanda out on a date and Amanda accepted. Thomas thought the date went well. So he called Amanda and asked her out on a second date. This time Amanda said no. Thomas sent Amanda quite a few text messages and also called her 3 more times to see if she had changed her mind. Amanda said she still did not want to go out on a date and asked Thomas not to text or call her any longer. But Thomas continued to text and call Amanda. Is this an example of sexual harassment? Yes. No. Answer. Yes. Amanda had asked Thomas to stop, but Thomas continued to repeatedly ask her out. Clearly, this is an unwelcome behavior. Duke has just joined the sales department. Lisa is the sales manager. One day, while Duke is leaving for the day, Lisa walks up to him and says, "You're joining me for drinks tonight." Duke agrees as he is new in the organization and does not want to disappoint the sales manager. After a few more drinks, she insists that Duke should drop her home as it is late in the night already. She acts funny in the car and keeps touching Duke in spite of repeated denials from Duke. She insists Duke to stay that night at her place. Duke refuses as he has to go home. Next day, Lisa starts belittling him in the presence of other colleagues. Poor boy, he can't party till late. Little baby has a timeline to reach home at night. Lisa continues to confront Duke with some hostility. "You're never going to grow up old enough to stay overnight at my place, are you?" Duke is clearly disturbed and is unable to focus on his work. Since a female colleague is demonstrating unwanted relation while a male colleague is uncomfortable and asking to stop, can this be considered as sexual harassment? Yes. No. Answer is yes. Any unwanted act or behavior with sexual undertones that has a negative impact on work environment falls under the definition of hostile environment sexual harassment. This can occur even when the harasser is a female and the aggrieved a male colleague. Question 4. John is organizing the boxes in the stockroom. Jack walks into the storeroom to drop a few more boxes. He slams John's back and says,
I like your body. You must be working hard at the gym. Jack, I've told you many times that I don't like you touching me.
Don't act like a girl. We are buddies.
He breaks into a big smile and punches him on the arm.
Jack, I do not want you to repeat this. It makes me uncomfortable. Okay.
He grins, winks, and leaves the stockroom. Since both the co-workers are of the same gender, does this fall under the scope of sexual harassment? Yes. No. Answer is yes. Sexual harassment can occur even between the colleagues of the same gender. Question 5. Rob and Diana, who are sales executives, need to travel together on a week-long business trip. In one of the taxi rides from the airport to the hotel, Rob snuggles up to Diana and tries to hold her hand. Diana strongly objects and Rob backs off. Diana finds Rob's behavior offensive and unwelcome. Since Rob and Diana were not at their workplace when the incident happened, this cannot be considered as sexual harassment. Is this true or false? True. False. Answer is false. Any place visited by two colleagues arising out of or during employment, including transportation, would be considered as the workplace. And since Diana found this gesture unwelcome and did not consent, this makes it a hostile work environment. What is not sexual harassment? It is just as important to know what is not sexual harassment as it is to know what is. Is this sexual harassment? No. When someone gives what is meant as a friendly squeeze of the arm to a co-worker who doesn't like to be touched, or tells an off-color joke, not realizing the listener will be offended, such behavior may represent insensitivity and that may be a serious problem, but it's usually not sexual harassment. Jessica is quite angry. She lost a promotion to Sarah, even though Jessica had delivered many successful projects that were appreciated by the clients numerous times. Jessica discovers to her dismay that Sarah has a romantic relationship with their boss, Richard. Jessica is upset that she was passed over for the promotion since Sarah was Richard's girlfriend. Is this sexual harassment? No. This is sexual favoritism. Sexual favoritism occurs when a manager or supervisor is in an intimate relationship with another employee and thus shows favoritism towards this employee by extending work benefits like promotion, etc., even though there are more qualified candidates available. So, what's the key difference between sexual favoritism and sexual harassment? The consent. In sexual favoritism, the relationship is mutual. Sexual favoritism, though, is not sexual harassment, but it can be disturbing for an employee who suffers because of the favoritism being extended to another without merit. Therefore, employees who have any romantic or intimate relationships with any co-worker should disclose it to the HR. Sexual favoritism may be viewed as conflict of interest in certain cases. What should your role be as a responsible employee? Doer. Be aware of your own actions while conducting official duties. Remember that all behaviors are not perceived the same by everyone, and it is the perception that matters, not the intention. Sometimes there could be a cultural difference as well. The behavior or comment that might be comfortable in one culture might not be okay in another culture. Be alert to any cues that you receive from the other person, signaling discomfort or disinterest. Elizabeth is looking worried, reading a complicated report. Leo, her supervisor, walks up behind Elizabeth. He starts giving her a massage on her shoulders.
What's up, Elizabeth?
Oh, hello, Leo. Well,
You seem tense. Relax.
I'm fine. Rolls her eyes.
Listen, it seems that you have been stressed out lately. How about if I postpone the presentation this afternoon and help you prepare better?
No, that's okay. I can get this myself.
Now listen, sweetheart, I'm worried about this project too, but I also don't like seeing you suffer. Now let's just work together and we should be able to complete.
Elizabeth looks completely distraught, gets up and quickly moves out. Leo looks puzzled as he watches her leave. In this scenario, it could be anything. Either Leo could be perpetrating sexual harassment, or he could simply be a social oaf with no malicious intent. It is important to recognize some non-verbal behaviors or cues that might tell a person, in this case Leo, that his behavior is unwelcome or inappropriate. Example, facial expressions of dislike, no eye contact, physically withdrew away, leaving in the middle of a statement, near crying and shaky voice, rolling her eyes, stiffness of the musculature. It is important to notice cues of disinterest and discomfort. Not reading cues and engaging repeatedly in similar inappropriate behavior makes for a solid case of sexual harassment. Receiver. Imagine yourself sitting at the aisle of a movie theater enjoying the latest Bond flick. A lady sitting next to you needs to constantly get up either to get popcorn or to go to the washroom. Every time she gets up, she accidentally steps on your foot. You decide to keep quiet. It's okay, you think. In all probabilities, she's done it by mistake and may not do it again. She decides to get up again since she's forgotten to buy soda. Same thing happens. She steps on your foot again. Your foot feels bruised. If only you had said ouch in the first instance. This example was not of sexual harassment. But the learning from this can be used in the context of sexual harassment too. Many times, sexual harassment can be nipped in the bud by saying ouch at the first instance. The very first mantra is, if you don't like it, say it. You can stop sexual harassment by openly stating that you are not okay and comfortable with what is happening. Many times, sexual harassment can be stopped by saying no at the first instance. And you should also do the following. Tell a trusted supervisor. Confide in a trusted co-worker who can act as a witness if need be. Report the incident. If the harassment continues despite your mentioning that you are not comfortable or do not feel safe to take up the discussion with the harasser, please contact your HR or Internal Complaints Committee, ICC. Document the harassment. Wherever possible, keep a written record of the incidents, messages, chat history on WhatsApp, Facebook, emails, etc. that occurred, including the date, time, what happened, other witnesses that may have been present, and how it made you feel. Spread the word as much as possible within the department so that the people are careful that there is a harasser around. Co-worker. When an aggrieved employee confides about sexual harassment with you, a co-worker, it is important on your part to guide and support the aggrieved appropriately. If sexual harassment is reported to you, take it seriously. Do not consider this as a trivial matter. Do not try to conduct your own investigation. Write down specifically what is reported. Write down as much information as possible. Take the complaint to the Sexual Harassment Committee or Human Resources. Report it immediately. Each day you let go by without reporting it puts the individual's safety and the organization at risk. Do not try to discourage the employee from disclosing it to the complaints committee. Manager. One day, Diana comes up to you to discuss about how she was feeling uncomfortable at work. She revealed that both Rob and Jack had been using abusive words like during team discussions. The words are addressed to her male colleagues and not to her. However, she finds it embarrassing to sit in the discussions due to the abusive words used in the room. Diana has expressed her discomfort to both Rob and Jack, but they don't seem to stop. It has become very difficult for Diana now to focus at work. What should you do as a manager? You should listen to Diana politely and assure her you will take care of it. You should then speak to Rob and Jack about their inappropriate behavior. Have zero tolerance to any inappropriate behavior and act promptly if such incidents come to your attention. The quarter has ended with 125% target achievement. You host an official dinner party for the entire team. Everyone is having a good time. Oliver seems overwhelmed, offering drinks to everyone. Ruby politely mentions, "Thanks, Oliver. I do not take alcohol."
That's not done, Ruby. It's a team achievement, and you have been a big contributor to our target achievement. Let's celebrate.
Ruby steps back. She's clearly uncomfortable and does not like being asked again. Ruby brings this up to you, the manager. What should you do? Putting pressure on a woman colleague to consume alcohol can be a case of sexual harassment. It is always recommended that as a manager, you ensure that your team goes through all the company policies and mandatory training programs on workplace behavior and related topics. As a manager, you have a bigger role to play. It is your responsibility to understand the organization's policy on sexual harassment and have an understanding on how to prevent it at workplace. Understand the law of the land. Be proactive in creating a respectful working environment and ensure awareness of appropriate behavior in your team. Maintain confidentiality and do not discuss the matter with other colleagues. Always lead by example. If you are aware of personal relationships in the team, meet those team members individually and clarify expectations of professional conduct in the workplace. And, when in doubt, call human resources. Let us do a quick recap through some scenarios and questions. Male team members in your department are cracking adult jokes about Samantha's outfit. As Samantha walks by, one of them makes a sexually off-color remark about her. The others laugh and poke each other on the arm. Samantha is clearly offended and reports this to you, her manager. What should you do? A. You tell Samantha to take it easy. Men will be men. Don't take it too hard. It's just some light-hearted banter. B. You tell Samantha that you will take this up with the men and she does not need to worry. C. You tell Samantha to sort this with the men on her own. Answer. You should not take this lightly. As a manager, it is your responsibility to ensure the work environment is respectful for every employee of your team. You should ensure the team is aware of appropriate and inappropriate workplace behaviors and attends all such trainings. Jack is working on the presentation for the CEO, which is scheduled for the day. All his team members, including Alice, have submitted their respective slides and data. Jack is working to put all the data and slides together for the final show. It's almost 8 p.m. Alice is ready to leave for the day. Jack asks Alice to stay back and help him with the presentation. Alice agrees to help and says politely, "Sure, let me inform the admin to arrange for the cab."
It's not necessary. I'll drop you home.
Alice is annoyed and uncomfortable with the offer. What should she do? A. Alice should comply. Jack is just being a gentleman. B. If Alice is not comfortable with it, she should say so. C. Alice can go with Jack this time as it does not look good to say no. And maybe if this happens again, then she can refuse. Answer. B. Alice should clearly communicate her discomfort and say no. She should tell Jack, "Thank you, but I prefer to take the office cab. It's more comfortable." Whether it's the first time or a repeat, if you don't like it, say it. What if Alice says no, she prefers the cab, but Jack still does not understand and says,
Are you scared of me? I'll drop you. Let's finish the presentation.
and this is repeated the next day again when they get late at work and Jack insists that he drops Alice home. Is Jack right in doing this? Yes, he just wants to be a gentleman. No, if the lady has said she is not comfortable, then he should not persist. Answer. No, Jack should understand that insisting a female colleague to drop her home instead of allowing office cab is not a welcome act, particularly when she is not comfortable. Hence, this makes for a solid case of harassment. You should be cautious of your actions so as not to make another person uncomfortable. John is required to travel to another city for a regional view. After one of the team discussions, he walks up to Rosie.
Hey Rosie, get your travel arrangements done for Mumbai from 20th to 22nd for the regional review.
But I'm a part of the South region team. I have never been a part of review for the West region.
True, but it is important for you to know the challenges of the other regions from learning perspective.
So the entire South team is traveling for this learning session?
No,
Oh. She stiffens and does not make eye contact.
it will be a fun trip, I promise.
She makes an excuse. I need to use the ladies' room. Excuse me. Rosie goes up to her co-worker Kathy and confides in her about what just happened. What should Kathy do? Kathy laughs and tells Rosie that this is a good opportunity to grow in her career. Kathy finds John's behavior inappropriate and guides Rosie to stand for herself. Kathy finds John's behavior inappropriate but tells Rosie to ignore it, suggesting that it will go away on its own. Answer. Kathy should take it seriously and guide Rosie to say no. And she suggests that if John still persists, Rosie should take it up with the manager. It is not correct to force a co-worker to travel for work, which is unnecessary. It can be construed as sexual harassment. Nancy has just joined the marketing team. She is eating alone in the cafeteria when Ben, her co-worker, walks in. Ben notices that Nancy is sitting alone and does not look very happy. So he says,
Why are you worrying, sweetheart? Is it about the presentation this afternoon? If that's the case, I can help you prepare better.
No, it's not that. I'm new here, so I feel a bit lost.
I'm here with you, right? It's okay, honey. You'll be fine, dear.
Ben puts his hand on Nancy's. That's when he feels Nancy stiffen a bit and then she suddenly stands up. Ben is puzzled. What is it that Ben could have done better? Take the options. Ben should not have tried to help Nancy. Ben should not use endearments in the workplace. Ben should watch out for cues that his behavior may be not welcome. Answer. Someone may find a particular behavior or something you said as offensive. Therefore, pay attention to non-verbal cues and respect another colleague's space. Be aware that other colleagues may not speak up. Remember, perceptions count, even if the intention is not so. The words like dear, sweetheart, honey, sweetie, baby, etc., which can be seen as personal or offensive, should not be used at the workplace. What is the organizational process to deal with it? Our company has a policy against sexual harassment and we have appointed Internal Complaints Committee or ICC as per the guidelines of the POSH Act. The ICC is a quasi-legal body comprising of senior management members and an external NGO partner to listen to and redress your complaints. The ICC includes women members to make it more comfortable for aggrieved women to approach. The ICC ensures confidentiality, fair and just hearing, no retaliation, and appropriate assistance to the aggrieved person. Process. Any aggrieved woman can write a complaint of sexual harassment at workplace to the ICC within 90 days from the date of an incident at icc@company.com. The complaint should include the details of harassment, including harasser's name, working relationship, incident date and time. On receipt of the complaint, the ICC will process to make inquiry into the complaint in accordance with the POSH policy. Penal consequences. The offender, once proven guilty, is likely to face one or more of the following actions or penal consequences. Issuance of warning and counseling. Suspension or termination of services from the organization. Legal lawsuit. FIR or police complaint by the aggrieved. Complaints filed with a malicious intent or false complaints are unacceptable, and any colleague who knowingly files a false complaint of sexual harassment, provides false information, or intentionally misleads the internal committee is subject to the same disciplinary action or consequences. The right behaviors at workplace. Respect your colleagues or co-workers, their styles and cultural backdrops. Do not ask for sexual favors either in return for job benefits or against retaliation threats. Do not indulge in unwelcome sexual acts that are frequent or pervasive and adversely affect someone's work environment. Sexual harassment can occur between any two people connected by work, at any place, physical or virtual, at any time. Pay attention to non-verbal cues. Some people may not speak up, but reflect their discomfort or dislike through facial expressions and body language. Apologize immediately if your behavior was not intentional. If you face any sexual harassment, clearly communicate your discomfort to the harasser, and if it does not stop, report it to the ICC. As a colleague or as a manager, you should be informed about your responsibilities at all times, and in case you see or face such situations, then you should not hesitate in raising it up. A safe workplace is every employee's right. Let's be aware and be cautious, and together create a respectful workplace.